Hey, it's Melissa with Sincerely Creative Mom. This is a demonstration of a wreath kit that we had for sale. It is sold out, but I wanted to do the demonstration so that y'all could see as well. We're working with a 14-inch pancake wreath frame. The kit also came with the 10-inch wreath frame and the sign extender. So all three pieces the kit came with. It came with a super duper cute sign. It's the most wonderful time of the year with the stripes and the polka dots and the black and white. Super duper cute. It came with a full roll, which I've already pre-cut, a full roll of the wide foil Deco Mesh. All I did was use my rotary cutter on a self-healing mat, and I cut them 20 inches long. So that was the mesh, and I did have some left. This is what I had left. Our ribbons came in. First of all, our ribbons are all come like this, all coiled like this, okay? So if you have this as a kit, please don't just cut, okay? These are all for our bow, number one, so you're not going to cut them until you have your bow constructed. Number two, these also come coiled, but they come coiled in 12 inches, and you need to cut them 14 inches long. So don't just get them and cut, okay? Make sure you're measuring 14 inches long. I've already pre-cut these to make sure that this video goes a little quicker. So the stripe and the snowflakes are your ribbon tails, 14 inches long. I put the favorite on the top. I folded it to find the center. Before I did that, I actually dovetailed both of these so they look kind of finished there. Fold it to come to the center, and then I have my tails ready to go. My mesh, again, 20 inches. These are all for my bow, and we're going to get started. Let's put these over here. So our sign, adorable. These you can use for a different project. Your kit also comes with two zip tie mounts to put on the back of your sign. If you're using these, you want to make sure you put a little bit of Dap Rapid glue on the back so it's a little extra security. We're using green pipe cleaners, and all I'm going to do is our patent pending frame has, ooh, where'd that come from? Our patent pending frame has holes exactly where you need to put your pipe cleaners. So we're going to put our pipe cleaners, every single hole that matches the notch, we're going to put those in. Okay, and I'm going to twist all the way around. Super duper easy. If you're wondering why I say super a lot, it's just the way I talk. Okay, every single one of these holes. Now you are going to notice just now that there are two extras, so we're not going to use those. We're just going to use the ones where the notches are. Those extra holes can be used for when you are adding your sign or your bow. You need maybe some guidance or a spot to just kind of put your wire in. Though it would be perfect, so it just goes in all the way around. It's a wooden frame, nice and sturdy. We're going to make the pancake wreath today. However, I've made so many different styles that have much heavier and much more advanced things going on this frame. So this is just a recipe that I live by, I work with all the time. These 12 twist ties, 6 on the inside and 6 on the outside. Very nice and easy. I don't have to measure, I don't have to anything. They're just there for me, ready to go. Okay, so now that we have our pipe cleaners in, we're going to work with our mesh. So again, I've already pre-cut our mesh. The mesh is 20 inches long. 20 inches long. Let me get this right out of the way too. There we go. 20 inches long, and I've just I'm gonna ruffle up the center, and so I'm putting like the coiled side down. So it's not coiled side up, it's coiled side down, okay? And then I'm just gonna ruffle right up the center, and I'm gonna work on this outside, these outside twist ties first. So we're gonna put our mesh in first, then our ribbons, and then we're gonna go to the inside and do the same exact thing. So this mesh is also very, it's also very busy. There's a lot of foil going in, so it's going to do a pretty good job of hiding our frame, because no one wants to see the frame other than me. I love the frame because it's mine, it's patent pending. Myself and my friend Damon over at Deco Exchange, together we have come up with this super awesome frame. It's, at the moment, we've sold over 25,000 frames. It's a great tool. It's a great frame for your wreaths. Again, it's a very sturdy, so you can add a lot of weight on it. Anyways, no one wants to see this frame more than I do. However, I know your customers don't want to see it. So we want to work with the mesh and the ribbons and the sign and the bow to cover up the frame. Okay, so nobody wants to see it. So I'm going to just ruffle these right up the center, so directly up the center. I'm just going to real careful get them going right up the center. I'm going to start on the outside, keep it nice and close together, super tiny in there. And I'm going to go right in the outside. Okay, just kind of gentle, and you're going to gently bring that pipe cleaner through. It is going to fray. It is going to. It's mesh. It's a woven material. You just cut it. It's going to fray. Our job as a creator, as a creative, as a maker, is to hide that or conceal it or camouflage it so that your customer doesn't see it, right? So we're just going to keep going with all of that mesh over and over and over again. So I'm just going to keep going. I've already cut them again, 20 inches long. Okay, we're going to keep going all the way around, just like that. So it might get stuck in that mesh. You saw that pipe cleaner just kind of grabbed it. Just make sure you pull it back out and do your thing. Now, just to keep some room on my table open, I cut them all and then recoiled them in a roll so I could just grab out. If you're like wondering what magic is going on over there, they've been pre-cut, and then I just gently rolled them back up. Typically I don't do that, but I cut them, you know, before I did a couple of other projects, so the table has been cleared a couple times, and I wanted to make sure everything kind of stayed together, and so just coil them back up. And then I'm just going to keep going around the whole thing. So nice and easy. This is how I do it for classes too, because you see how easy that was to just take them apart. So it's going to be easy for your customers or your students to also take them apart. So if you purchase this kit, it is not pre-cut for you. You get the whole roll and you can cut it as you wish. Again, they're 20 inches long. 20 inches. So I'm being gentle with it, I'm being careful, I'm trying to make sure that they stay rounded, they stay flat. I'm overlapping that mesh to help make it stay flat. The pancake wreath was meant to fit between your door and your storm door. So we want to intentionally keep it flat. Now, not all my wreaths are flat, not all my wreaths are thin or slim, but for this specific one, it is. I sell on Etsy, and my completed wreaths, and I sell at a local boutique. And so for those who are buying at the local boutique, I know what they like and what they want. I know what sells most there. And for me, in my area, this is what sells the most, these thinner designs. Okay, snuggle over those. Okay. Now that we have those in, we're going to go right on top with our ribbons. Again, our ribbons are 2.5 inch. Okay. We cut them 14 inches long. I cut my dovetails on the end. I'm just going to scrunch them up just like I did the mesh. Scrunch them up and put them in. We will pull them out in just a minute here. We will fluff them out. Definitely want to make sure you're seeing both of those ribbons. This is just faster, easier if I go through and do the whole thing. And then pick up my wire cutters one time and cut them all at the same time. So always like, I kind of put them in so that they're facing out towards me on purpose. Nice and tight. And once I have them all in, I'm just twisting these pipe cleaners like 7 or 8 times. I just need enough so that when I cut them off, there's enough there where it's not going to unravel and move, right? I can go through and take my wire cutter that I've stolen out of my husband's tool for like ever, and I'm just going to push those in. And then I'm going to come up, take it apart and pull it apart. So up and down, pull it apart, and side to side, pull it apart. Up and down, pull it apart, side to side, pull it apart. So then I can make them go where I want them to, and they just come all out towards me. Okay? So I want to see, I'm going to put another layer of mesh here, but I want to see all of those tips of ribbon all coming out this way. If I have them facing inside, I'm going to cover them up with the next layer, and I don't want to do that. Okay? So I'm just going to make sure, okay, I'm going to make sure all I'm going to do is like just fold this in, okay, up and down, side to side, up and down, side to side. That way all of my ribbons just stay out. Now they'll move a little bit, and once I have that next layer on, I can put them in place again at the very end to make sure they're going where I want them to. But that trick is to get them pulled apart right up here at the top, get them pulled apart so that they have come apart from each other and are individual again. And when you ruffle them together, they're going to stay ruffled together. You've just like ruffled them to become one. You want them to become two again, and so you want to make sure you're pulling them apart. I just push that pipe cleaner down in front. You can tuck it underneath. It's green, so it's going to blend in really good. So I didn't even take the time to like tuck it under. But you can if you want. Okay. And then we're going to take the next layer of mesh right on top. Let me get those pulled apart so it goes a little quicker. We have 6 on the top and 6 on the bottom. And again, I just coiled them so that I could move the whole kit around my room without having troubles. And then I just want to make sure that those pipe cleaners are all sticking up waiting for me. I can get to them all in decent spacing. Okay, so now if you can see a little bit, you can still see that frame a little bit in there. Okay, and we're going to do our best to cover that up for the last time, cover it up completely. So all I'm going to do is ruffle the exact same way, the exact same thing with the ribbons, and put it on top. The reason why I'm doing that is because you see how I had to like pull those apart, pull them apart, and do all this little fun stuff to the mesh and stuff. Well, if I did the mesh and the mesh first, then when I went in to do the ribbon and then the ribbon, when I did this layer of ribbon, I'd be messing up this layer of mesh. So I don't want to do that and have to touch everything kind of twice. So we're going to go with another layer and go right on top. same little tiny and go right on top. Still overlap here and overlap here, same thing. Okay, and then keep going all the way around. You can do the same thing. Right on top. So it feels like it's going to start covering up those ribbons that you just put on, and you're probably thinking like, why is she doing that? But it looks so pretty when you have the layered look and you have the ribbon on top here. It does look really pretty. Yes, you are covering up some of it, but the technique in the end when it's all complete, so pretty. Okay? Make sure you're pushing it all the way down, because now you have that other layer underneath you, so it's kind of like making this stick out a little bit. And so I'm trying to make sure I'm still getting that mesh down to the pipe cleaner all the way, so it's not just floating there. I don't want it just, you know, floating. I want it to be nice and solid. So I'm putting this piece of mesh all the way down as far as I can to the wood. Ruffle, ruffle. The sign on this one is a little different shape than I normally do. Typically for this style, I really like, there's a couple different styles I like, but my number one favorite is the 6x12 kind of license plate shape and size. That's my favorite. So this sign is definitely not like that. So it'll be a little different when we put in our bow or bows, depending on how well we can cover up our pipe cleaners. So I use the sign itself and the pipe and the bows, or bow. Typically it's just one for this style, but I use the sign and the bows to cover up what goes on in the inside. Okay, so that's why I have all my ribbons kind of coming out towards the outside, because my sign and my bow are going to cover up that inside. Now you can do it however you wish, however your heart desires, but for this particular design, that's how I do it. Okay, so now we have all those ribbons on the outside. It looks really pretty. Okay, and then we're going to go and do the next layer of ribbons. The same exact thing are going to go on the inside. So I'm just going to take those ribbons, ruffle them up, put them on the outside, just in like that. Nice and tight. 7 or 8 times. Fluff them apart and side to side. Okay, and then fluff them apart and then side to side. Put them in their place. Now the mesh itself has all these little ends. You see how that layered looks so cute. They have all these little layers, or all those little things that catch. That will catch on the ribbon in here and there, and it'll help keep it in place. It really will. It'll help keep it in place. So, you know, just one little tip sometimes. Sometimes that mesh, when it catches on everything, can be super duper annoying. But then, you know, you're like, oh, well, it helps keep things in place. So I guess that's kind of good. Twist, 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 twist. Go on to the next one. Now you see how easy it was at the end to just take my wire cutter and just cut everything at once. Not that I'm going to leave it like this, because it, you know, you just put in your 2 ribbons and you definitely want to see both ribbons. So just make sure you can definitely see both. All at once. Now the sign has a little bit of black and white, and so I definitely wanted to make sure I pulled that out into some of the ribbons. Just so happen to be polka dots, which are lovely, super duper cute, and very popular, right? Very whimsical polka dots are. And so I wanted to pull that through into the wreath somehow. I didn't quite have the ribbon to help me do that in the ribbon tails. I didn't quite have something that matched and looked well for it and the ribbon tails, but I found some ribbon that was perfect to add a little bit of black and white and polka dots in the bow. So we're going to do that for sure. So that's done. And then, of course, I don't want to leave this part out. This is a very important must-do step. You don't want to leave this part out. Pull that in, pull it apart. Oopsie. So we get to the bow. I'm going to talk about the ribbon I chose and why. Because matching ribbons is something that is, it should be easy. And sometimes kind of get stumped. So I'm going to talk you through how I do it. At least how I did it on this design. Okay, so now I have this big open space we're totally going to fill with our sign and our bow. So the inside from here to here is about 10 inches. Let's see how this does not cover. Okay, all right. So it's going to cover half. Ooh, it's going to cover 3. All right, I can do it this way. So I'm going to put my bow up here. Okay, put my bow up there. I'm going to cover 1, 2, 3, and 4 pipe cleaners. I'm going to put my bow up here. Now let's talk about how and why I chose the ribbons that we did. Okay, let me get my zip tie. Oops, sorry. I'm going to get my, this thing, what is it? Easy Bow Maker out. Get this out of the way. All right, so we have stripes, polka dots, snowflakes, and more stripes. Okay, so what I did was I looked at the sign and I could say, okay, the sign has red, white, lime green, dark green, it's a snowman, and I have black and white polka dots. So how am I going to bring that into my bow? Make it still coordinate with my ribbons, but still a little bit different. How am I going to do that? So typically for this style wreath, I do 2 2.5-inch ribbons and 1 2.5-inch ribbon and 2 1.5-inch ribbons. So how was I going to do that without with bringing all the elements that I wanted in here and still, you know, matching the sign, matching the ribbons, okay? So I knew I had green mesh, so putting in a lot of green into the bow wasn't really important to me because I knew I have the green covered here. And I knew I needed stripes because the scarf. I knew I could work in some polka dots, and I knew for sure I needed some black and white. So I started with the black and white polka dots. I actually did have black and white polka dots that matched that exactly. I went with something a little bit different so that it stands out, just being a little different. The snowflakes were a last minute add just because snowflakes, the snowman, the snowflakes in the ribbon, I was like, I just feel like I gotta have snowflakes in there. So I added that in last. But what I did here was, I knew I needed a 2.5 inch, and because I said I already had enough green, I pulled in a lot of the red into the 2.5 inch, but I also had a lot of red here. So I was okay with that. So now we had the polka dots and the stripes, and then I knew for sure I couldn't do this bow and it look really like it matches and coordinates without any green. So I knew I needed some green. This happened to be perfect. Has those red edges, a little bit of white in there. Yes, it's stripe and stripe, but I feel like those go great because there's such a difference in them. Even though the stripes, this is very, you know, kind of equal stripes, and this is kind of all different maybe. Even the glitter stripes in there are all different shapes or sizes. And so I loved this, and then the last one I was like, oh, but I just need some snowflakes. After all, the sign is a snowman, the snowflakes are in here, so then I added it in, and it looked so good. I loved it. So that's why I went with all 4, when typically I only do 3. So we're going to do the bow and finish the bow in just 1 second. I just want to let you know that, you know, these come with 2 yards for the bow that we're going to do here. Now, if you want to make smaller bows, this is for the kit itself. If you want to make smaller bows, you can. Just know that there's 2 yards a piece here. So know what you're going to do before you cut, because there's only 2 yards. Okay? We're going to do one. Oops. We're going to do one. It's actually going to be smaller than what I normally do because I don't want my bow to take up, you know, if I put it, let me see if you can see here. Let me pull this down. If I put my bow here, like my whole hand, I'm okay with it covering a little bit of that sign, but not like a lot. Like I don't want it to cover up the words, obviously. So I need it to cover up just a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start with 2.5 inch on the bottom. Let me get this out of the way so I have some room. We're going to start with a 2.5 inch on the bottom. And I'm going to go with maybe a 7-inch tail. I can always make that smaller. So we're going to go with a 7-inch tail and start with a loop. And usually I go with 6 inches. Let's go with just 5.5. I don't want this to be too big. We can always cut the tails as we need. Okay, so pinch, twist, loop. Make sure those are kind of even. Pinch, twist, loop, even, pinch, twist, and the last one's a tail. Now this is just the way I do it. So we have 2 loops over here and two tails over here and 1 loop. Okay, so I'm always going to alternate. So the next layer, the 2 loops are going to go over here, the 2 tails are going to go over there. Okay, so this is just extra. If I had another spot or needed extra loops or something else, we're going to set those aside, and if we need it, we'll be able to use it, you know, or not, or we don't have to use it. So I'm just going to take my next ribbon. Again, I'm going to make sure my tails are a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go here, and my loops are going to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to go here, and then again, pinch, twist, another loop, pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist. You know what? I just realized I definitely wanted this on the top. Let me see how that's going to look on the top. Oh, I guess I could do that on the top. But I really wanted this on the top. Let's just set that aside for a second. Let's go back. Pretend I didn't do that yet. The black and white's got to go in next. I know that for sure. So the black and white tail, and then the loop. Okay, so pinch, twist, loop. I knew I wanted the black and white in there, but I don't want it at the top. Like, I don't want it to be like the star of the show. I just want it to look like it kind of came in there and was part of it, right? I didn't want that to be part of this. I didn't want it to be the star of the show. Okay, so remember the two loops are here. Now the two loops are going to go over here on the other side. So this is a Lisa bow. I learned how to make bows from a very, very sweet friend of mine. I just watched her live and watched her over and over and over again until I felt like I had it down pat. And so, you know, I just stop, rewind, stop, rewind, stop, rewind. And although I am talking right now, that is something definitely you can do. Tail, pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist, loop. Remember, each layer has two loops on one side, one loop on the other side with two tails. So here are my tails. My tails are going to go over here. So I'm going to put that down in there, cut my tail off, nice and easy, and then get rid of that. And I do have some extra there that I can use, you know, considerable extra that we can use if we need it. All right, so I just ruined this. Let's see if we can do this. So I'm going to go with a pinch. This is going to be my top. So it's going to have a little bit of a little loop here, just a little loop, maybe 3 inches, and then pinch, twist, loop. So still 3 loops in addition to that loop on the top. Pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist. Now, since I have tails on both sides, what I'm interested in is where the loops are. So 2 over here, that means 2 have to go over here. Just like that. Okay? And then I'll cut this. So again, we do have that extra. So I'll take my, I hope I have my tool here. Here we do. I'll take my tool. We're going to lift that off. Okay? We're going to lift it off. Keep it nice and tight. Add your zip tie. So because of my carpal tunnel lately, I haven't been really trusting myself with pipe cleaners. So I've been adding the zip tie tool. I've been adding the zip tie because I know I have this tool to help fluff it out to help make it nice and tight. This, and do all of the layers so I don't forget. Okay, and then before I do one last thing, I'm just going to take my zip tie gun and just slide it in and nice and tight. It kind of pulls it off so that I don't have it there anymore. It's gone. Then I'm going to take my wire. Well, no, I'm going to take my pipe cleaner. Add it right to the front. Okay. So that the pipe cleaner and the thing that holds it together are separate. I'm going to take my top, just wiggle it up forward, I'm just holding it between my hands just like this. And I'm going to pull those apart layer by layer. Okay? Layer by layer. So the red and white goes first, the black and white goes next, the snowflakes go next. Just pulling it all apart, all away, making sure all my layers are separate. And then fluff everything so it looks nice and perfect and perky. And then if anything needs to have a little, you can just doot, 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 doot. Make it a little extra perky. Okay? Super cute. All right, so from here, again, your kit comes with those 2 zip tie mounts to add to the back of your sign. Now, if you're adding these and you're adding a little bit of glue, I would definitely do that. I would do that before you start, so that the glue can be a little bit dry before you get going. So what we're going to do is, what you would do if you have this in the kit, I'm going to use a staple gun. I don't know where it is. I'm going to use a staple gun and some pipe cleaners. But if you don't have a staple gun to do it the way I'm going to do it, you can use these. All you do is peel off the ends, put a little bit of extra glue in there. You don't have to, but I am recommending it. Put a little bit of glue on there and let it dry for a while before you use it. So do this part first, okay? And then you're gonna put them in place here and here, which is where we're gonna put our zip ties. Okay, so I'm gonna use the back of a spool, ribbon spool, our staples are 1/4 of an inch. Our sign is not quite 1/4 of an inch. Okay. So I'm going to put these on exactly where I need them to be able to add to the wreath frame. And all I needed to do there was add a little bit of backing there so that the staple wasn't going to go through the sign, because the last thing you want is to turn it over and you just ruined it because your staple went through it. Okay, we don't want that for sure. All right. Okay, so I'm going to take my sign, position it again. I know where it needs to go now. Okay, I know where it needs to go. Okay, and then I'm just going to put those pipe cleaners right through that mesh so it gets all the way to this is the part that's just really, it's the hardest part. Getting those pipe cleaners all the way through, it truly is the hardest part. Let's get my finger underneath there. There we go. And then once I have this in place, I'm actually going to cover it. Usually I wait till I have both in place, but this is a little different, so I need them to stay right there. They cannot move, so I can make sure that those pipe cleaners stay in place. And then this one, I'm going to have 2 there. Okay, my bow's going to go right here. Let's see. My bow's going to go right there. Okay. All right, so my pipe cleaners up here, they're going to go like up here above the ribbon. Because I should have put it right underneath where his nose are. In fact, if you are doing this with this exact sign and you're doing this kit, put your zip tie, or I'm sorry, your pipe cleaner or your whatever, however you're attaching it, right like on the back where his nose are, because that's right where the frame is. And so I am going to do a little twisty-do. Wishing I had it where I told you to. It's going to work out just fine, but it'd be better if I had them right there. Okay, here we go. Let me just make sure what's my pattern? Stripe, snowflake, stripe, snowflake. Okay, that can go there too. All right. I'm just going to make sure I can get it around the back, and I'll flip it over in just 1 second so you can see what I'm doing. In fact, I flipped it over now. So all I did was I took it and put my pipe cleaner in here, put my pipe cleaner up here, found them, grabbed them around the frame, twisted it nice and tight, and I did the same thing, and then I slid what was left up underneath there. Okay, so that you don't have those pokies on the back, all right? And then we have, look at how cute. Now he's in place. Okay, we can take our ribbon, bow, and then we can put this guy in place too. Super duper cute. I'm gonna go right here. Okay, with where I'm gonna twist it in. And then so the tail can kind of come down and cover up this part. Okay. That's the plan. Getting it through that mesh is the important part. Y'all, thank you very much for following. Thank you very much for always watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments, for your text messages, for everything. I really truly appreciate it. You can find anything you need from me by going to melslinks.com. The frame itself, any classes I've been able to teach or involved in, anything that I have upcoming, all of the stuff, my YouTube, my Facebook, all the things. I'm typically live on Facebook, and then I do recordings and things on YouTube with a few extra here and there. This was again for a kit, and so this was something that we put together and then make a video for. Let's get this down just a little bit. There we go. Make a video for, so that y'all, that's so cute, so that y'all can recreate what we have in our vision. Let's get this guy twisted back the way he needs to be. It is adorable. I hope that you're intrigued, you are following, you are subscribed, you are all those things, so that we can have fun and be friends in the future. I love this. Notice how we didn't cover up we covered up a little bit of his face, which is fine. We know he's a snowman. But we didn't cover up his hands. We didn't cover up anything else. It's just adorable. Super duper cute. And then I'm going to go one last thing I do, and pull those all apart to make sure they are in place. They're ready for my picture. They're ready for the camera. And then I can just hang him on the door, take his picture, and then he can be done. I hope those of you who purchased the kit, make sure you send me pictures so I can see your kit, so I can see your vision, so I can see your work. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'm happy to answer as best I can. Make sure you're commenting or sending me text messages, one of the two. And make sure you're on our email list so that when we have new kits, you can be notified when they're available and ready. What I will do though, one last thing, and my glue gun isn't on, but what I'll do is I'll take this ribbon here and glue it to make sure that it covers that pipe cleaner, just to make sure. Okay, thanks for watching, and let me just zoom it out a little bit. There's the whole thing. There you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, y'all.